Hello, beautiful soul, and thank you for joining me for this celebration of the goddess in her form as Maha Gauri. If you are joining me during Navratri, a blessed and beautiful day or night 8 of Navratri to you, be sure to check the link in the video description to check out all the other videos celebrating the goddess in her other forms and on her other days. But let's talk about Maha Gauri today. Quite frankly, there is not a lot of information about Maha Gauri, at least accessible in today's day and age. But to tell her story, we're going to tell two of the main depictions of how she became the goddess Maha Gauri and how she got this name. Now, I want to start by saying that just because she is not as well known as some of the other aspects and not as well documented, does not mean she is any less powerful. Worshippers of Maha Gauri have been said to be given relief from all of their sufferings in life and also to be removed from the fear of rebirth by being granted salvation by the goddess. Her name, Maha Gauri, also means Maha or super and Gauri or radiance. She is known as the radiant one, as either the or one of the most radiant aspects of the goddess. Now we're going to tell the two main tales of how she took on this name and this form of being, but I have also activated the visual of this video with light codes that will be illustrated by one of the tales. So I want to encourage you, if you are being called by the goddess, if you would like to work with this form of the goddess, sit with this video as meditation, stimulation, perhaps do some stream of consciousness journaling and see what information she brings through to you by looking at this imagery, and know that simply by listening to and watching this video, it can be an invitation for her to come into your life if you so choose, and for you to spend time with her. Now, something else that you can try after listening to the goddess's story is to go back and watch this again. Look at that beautiful waterfall of light that is streaming over the goddess and ask that the same type of waterfall of light streams over you to promote your radiance. After you listen to the rest of her story, you will realize how resonant that is, but more and more you will be able to cultivate and use this practice to cultivate radiance within you. And by the way, I know through these Navratri videos and these Navadurga videos, we have also been helping you connect by letting you know the color of the day or the sacred color of the day for that day of Navratri. And today's color is the color pink. It is said that Maha Gauri is associated with the pink because of its depiction towards optimism, also towards beauty. As you can see towards the base of the imagery there, we have this beautiful lotus flower opening and closing and blooming. So if you are seeking bloom in your life, if you are seeking radiance, which of course goes beyond beauty, I personally believe that radiance comes from the soul, I encourage you to explore working with Maha Gauri for that. Now, in previous Navadurga and Navratri videos, you will remember that we were working our way up the chakra system with Maha Durga, and yesterday with Maha Kali we got to the crown chakra. So from my interpretation and research and experience with Maha Gauri, I have not experienced her as resonant with a chakra now that we went through the 7 main chakras of the chakra system. However, if you resonate a chakra with Maha Gauri, please feel free to share that information with us in the comment section. So let's get to how she chose this name or this form of being. One of the more simple tales of how this form of the goddess came to be states that as the goddess Kali, after she killed the several demons, as you can look at the previous Navadurga video, deep dive on Kali to find out more about, the goddess then went into the sacred Ganga river, took a bath, and then came out gaining this warmer or golden complexion and radiance. Now, one of the other more popular tales about how she gained this Mahagauri name and imagery and version of herself takes us back to day 2 of Navadri. So if you want to learn more, you can go and listen to day 2 or Brahmacharini's video. But basically, we come from the form of goddess as Brahmacharini when she was performing her tapasya, her deep penance. And if you watch and listen to the stories in that video, you will see how as Brahmacharini, Parvati performed this deep penance to wake Lord Shiva up to the fact that she was Sati or Parvati in a new birth, and to elevate herself and her consciousness to the form where they would be ready to marry again. Now, performing this deep penance or this tapasya, eventually, because it took thousands of years, Parvati got to the point as Brahmacharini where she was not even eating anymore. She was not eating or drinking, and that of course took its toll. Although she was all-powerful and a goddess, she was then said to attract dust and take on almost a skeletal form. Apologies if that triggers you as someone with any eating disorder issues, but I want to address that in a second as well. And so when she took on this form and got to this standpoint of Brahmacharini performing this deep tapasya, eventually Lord Shiva did wake up and they were reunited. He realized her as his beloved and they decided to get married again. And you could look at day 3 for more about that and more about their marriage. But before they got to that point of actually getting to the wedding day, it is said that Lord Shiva, as her beloved, then allowed the Ganga, the sacred Ganga river, which poured out of the top of his head, out of the top of his man bun, if you will, for lack of a better term for people who are more familiar with that version of iconography, and had this sacred water, this sacred Ganga, pour over Brahmacharini. And in doing so, with that sacred water and that love for his beloved, Brahmacharini transformed into Mahagauri, into this beautiful and golden, radiant version of herself. And then, of course, eventually also becoming 𝑇�𓋹𓓓𓋴𓍶 for that marriage ceremony that you can explore in day 3. But that, my loves, is the essence of her story of how she took on this name and form. Now you can see here she also rides the ox as her sacred vehicle. She is most often depicted with 4 arms, one usually holding that sacred trident or 𝑇�𓋹𓓓����🍶, one hand in a mudra of blessing posture, one hand in a mudra of protective posture, and then the other hand either holding a tambourine or a drum. So I encourage you, if you're trying to connect with her more, of course you can use her mantras, or you can connect with drum music and tap into that sacred drumming, that sacred flow, and really go with the flow of your body and incorporate the escalation of your energy with the intention that it raises your radiance level. Of course, also having devotion to this form of the goddess, as we said, can encourage the alleviance of suffering or the granting of salvation. So that is something to keep in mind as well. And if you have other ways that you like to connect with her, or offerings that you like to give her, or messages perhaps that she has given you that you would like to share, I invite you to share those, if so called, in the comment section and encourage others in their relationship with Devi in this form. And before we cap off, I do want to share a personal channeled message that the goddess gave me to share with any of you who may currently or have ever suffered from eating disorders or traumatic pasts that affected your eating or any form of gender or body dysmorphia. I know that it can be difficult sometimes to find a form of God, goddess, source, deity that can identify with these issues and stand in our corner. So I want to encourage you, if you have struggled with these things, Maha Gauri may be the goddess for you to explore in that capacity. In any event, she definitely wanted me to say that she does step forward for any of you who would like to work with her in that capacity. You may also find relevant some of the messages, the channeled messages that I shared in my chat and channel session video about the archetype of the wounded healer and Princess Diana. You can find that through the chat and channel playlist link, which is in the video description as well. In there, I go into a brief discourse as someone who has suffered from traumatic and eating disorders, and as someone who is, of course, a quantum and 𝑓 energy healer. I have always found that there is a common core wound among people who struggle with dysmorphia, most especially for those of us who struggle with anxiety or trauma or disorder around eating. Now, that could be overeating or that could be undereating. In most cases, I have found that people manifest these disorders as a means of control, some element of control, right? We've gone through things in our life that feel very, very much out of our control, and suddenly a switch can flip in our head, or perhaps we've had it for most of our lives, which says that, hey, I may not be able to control those outside things, but I can control how much food I put into my body or not. And so that is the core wound, or the core mental track that I have found to be common core among many of us who have struggled with these issues. So I hope that that sheds some light upon any of the struggles that you have been going through, or that you have been called to clear or heal from your soul, no matter how long ago you may have struggled from these things. And I also hope that the connection, or the possible connection, the invitation at the very least to work with Maha Gauri can help you in that endeavor. I will also be listing some eating disorder resources in the video description. Please, I encourage you, do not use this or any spiritual information or any type of energy healing work to bypass other type of medical attention that you may need. I go into it more in that Princess Diana video, but basically my thoughts are these type of things and situations involve so many aspects of our body and our organ systems as well, that even though I am, of course, a proponent of spiritual support and energetic healing and do that, I always advise that everyone also get medical attention and supervision as needed. And thankfully, things are changing in the world where you should be able to find medical doctors or naturopaths or practitioners who will work with you in your belief systems as well, and be able to support your physical body as you are also incorporating whatever spiritual support that you are called to at this or any time. And I also want to thank those of you who did not need this particular message. Thank you for hanging in there and holding space for those that may have needed it at this or any time that it finds them. Obviously, that is a very particular type of wound and issue and healing that needs to be done in some. And I am so grateful that the goddess stepped forward in the capacity to help with that and used me as a channel to share that message. And thank you for all of the rest of you who didn't need it but held space anyway. Remember that even if you don't struggle with these type of things, you can work with the goddess to up your radiance level and your self-love quotient. I still invite you to use the visual here in a way that sort of replicates how the Ganga washed over Maha Gauri, and imagine that as waters or streams of light washing over you and upping your self-love and light quotient. And I hope that that is helpful to you. As this video has resonated with you, I also would love it if you remember to give it a like. If you would like to explore more, of course, you are welcome to that Navadurga'durga playlist as well. And I invite you to subscribe on my channel. We talk about not only the forms of goddess, but also quantum physics, self-development, energy healing, pattern reset, all kinds of amazing spiritual things, and I would love to have you here as a part of the channel. If you feel called to work with me spiritually, you can check the links in the video description to visit my website, Damcl Designs, DAMCL Designs.com, and explore quantum and Akashic records, reading sessions, and more with me. On my website, I also have energy art and enlightened merch items, including a Durga Devi and Kushmanda collection that I'm sure will probably resonate with you. And if you would like to go even further into the realms of energy healing, magical mentorship, quantum and 𝑓 energy healing, or life and consciousness coaching, I also invite you to use that link in the video description, which is a contact for consult form, to see if we would be a good fit for you to apply for one of my quantum energy healing containers. I build those on a one-to-one basis, and they are customized for your soul and your soul's needs, and I would love to work with more of you in that capacity. If this or any of my other free and public works and channels have helped you, I invite you to support the channel through all amounts appreciated energy exchange and donations. You can do that through paypal.me/𝑓𝑔HenlightenedEdits or by using the donate link, which is also in the video description. Whether you do that or not, whether we work together at any time or not, I am so grateful that you took the time today to get to know the goddess in the form as Maha Gauri, and I wish you blessed radiance in your own light and in your own reality. I hope to see you some other time as well. Be blessed with love, light, and light codes. Love, Danielle, #Damcl at 𝑓𝑔HenlightenedEdits of DamclDesigns.com. Bye for now.